Good afternoon and welcome to the September 11th, 2024 meeting of the Fairfield Board of Police Commissioners. I would like to ask you to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And in honor of September 11th, I have asked Chief Calamaris and Chief McNamara,
Bernard
McCarthy to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if everyone could please remain standing for just a moment as we reflect with Chief McCarthy, Chief Calamaris, on the events of 23 years ago, the lives lost, the history made, and may we never forget what happened that day to our country and to our world. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
All right. Okay, we will move on to item number 2, to approve the draft minutes of the regular meeting from July 10th, 2024. Comments, amendments to the meeting minutes from July.
I move the meeting that each agenda be approved, that the matter be approved.
Mr. Hunt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, the minutes carried. Okay, item number 3 is our first of 2 traffic surveys. Before we go through the traffic surveys, I just wanted to alert the public. The original agenda for this meeting had an additional traffic survey on it. The survey for the South Benson Road area leading down toward the beach. Just this week, there was a meeting at Town Hall. It was yesterday. Commissioner Stone was there. Thank you very much. The first selectmen and representatives from the police, public works, engineering, and other folks. And the proposal was discussed in a pretty good level of detail. But it was collectively decided that the proposal itself is big, it's new, it's precedent-setting in some way, and it's going to be a change not just for the neighborhood, but possibly a change for other parts of town that have similar traffic issues and concerns. So it's a big project with a large impact, and the thought was it wasn't quite fully ready for prime time to bring it before any of the police commission, to bring it before the police commission today or other town bodies. So I did remove it from the agenda 2 days ago, so I just wanted to let anyone know that might still be here to speak to that item. It is not on the agenda and it will not be discussed. So if you came here for that, I'm sorry, but we won't be taking that matter up. Okay. Traffic Survey A, Secretary Legal.
Good evening. Welcome everybody to the Police Commission. Nature of request. Proposed roundabout at intersection of Reading Road and Dunham with Splinter Island and Crosswalk. Stop sign will be removed. A demo was conducted to test the turning radius of fire trucks and determine the in-house constructability of the roundabout. It was only for studies purposes. After discussing with the police department, it was kept for 3 days over the weekend for engineering studies only and to observe pedestrian cyclist perception. By whom? Megha Jain, Civil Engineer, Town Hall.
Okay.
Recommendation approved.
Okay, so the recommendation before us is to approve this traffic request. Megha, the floor is yours.
Yes, hi. So we conducted a demonstration for roundabout at the Dunham and Reading Road intersection. It was in July, I believe. We did that. First, the space is the reason for proposing a roundabout back when we had a road safety audit back with Melissa Evans, and we were standing at that intersection and we were observing that intersection, that how it is accommodating pedestrians, bicyclists, and motor, and the vehicles around. We saw that pedestrians were a little shy with that intersection. They were not very comfortable there. There were heavy trucks and vehicles were the lanes were not enough, delineated enough to route the traffic in a proper direction. There's a stop sign that creates a lot of conflict points. One is merging traffic. You can see that it creates like a merged traffic, divergent traffic, crossing, and also creating conflicts with bicyclists and pedestrians. So we saw those observations, and while we were standing, we said, okay, in the existing island, can we have a roundabout? And it will make it will eliminate the conflict points. It will give more room for pedestrians and bicyclists. It will slow down the traffic, and it will also improve the perception of the people that are not willing to walk at present. So that was a conceptual. We came with concept, but now question was, hey, is roundabout really going to work? It's a kind of a new concept in Fairfield. There are not many roundabouts. I think it could be a first roundabout. So we wanted to test that. It was in our planning phase. We were planning around. We had a survey done, a full survey done. So we said, okay, let's play with the paper. We played around on the plan. We sketched a lot of ideas. Well, paper is paper. So we said, I don't know how it was going to work in reality, how it is going to be perceived by people, and obviously how it is going to be accommodating of fire trucks and emergency vehicles. So all by generating that concept, I said, let's have this, let's do a demo project. The first, besides testing this roundabout just for to test a concept, it was also to test the in-house constructibility. As you know, construction is very expensive nowadays. If we put this roundabout in there, it could be, maybe $150 or maybe $2 million. So the cost can rise as much nowadays for the construction. So the whole purpose was to let's encourage our in-house construction as well, which will save us a lot of money. So I called DPW department and I said, let's have a markup done. It's just, to test my concept. It was nothing to really, make it very publicized or make it very, very formal. It was just to let's test it in-house. So we did mark up the area. First we went, I think a day before, we just marked up the area and see how, if we can lay out similar pattern that we have used it on our plans on the paper. So we sketched the area, and while we were standing there and the vehicles we were observing, so we designed that roundabout keeping how the vehicles are behaving around that whole intersection. So we laid down litter islands and delineated the lanes, made some place for the path for the public, splitter island, and everything fit well with our white markup sketches. So then this was not over yet. We came back and we said, okay, let's have a testing with the fire department and then let's test a cone with the cones. We will stand there for 3-4 hours and we will test how this works while we are standing there. And very thankful to Captain Irizarry, who was very, very cooperative in this effort. And he just came on board. He said, yes, let's, if you want to test, let's test it. So we just went with the DPW crew and Captain Irizarry team. Then we went there and we made all the white markups. We laid out the cones. We called the fire department, thankful to them. They came with the fire trucks. We tested and they said, no, we need to minimize, instead of going to 50 feet diameter roundabout, let's squeeze it to maybe 40 feet to 45 feet diameter. So that was a good test. So we could figure out how much diameter will be fitting there. We tested our fire trucks. That was perfect. We had to tweak a little bit of design here and there just because some of the vehicles were encroaching on our curb extensions that we have seen on that Instagram, if you have seen those images. Splitter Island was fitting well. It has enough space to fit the roundabout, the splitter island, and a little bit of islands as we have seen with the white sketches that we have, white markings that we have done, accommodating the public. So pretty well. It was working 3 hours. People were happy. We saw bicyclists were able to maneuver much better as compared to before. They were not struggling or juggling or making an estimated guesses. Similarly with pedestrians, with the slow down traffic, they were more willing to walk than it was before. So these were observed on the first day, and then we kept it over the weekend, and I came there on Saturday myself, and I parked my car and I walked all the round that, till Dwight School, back to Dwight School, and started observing. I saw there was a group of bicyclists who had this, some fundraiser was going on with a group of bicyclists, and they were there at the roundabout, and they were able to maneuver, and they were saying, thank you that, we are able to now better feel than before. Much safe they were feeling with this roundabout. We had 25 residents and 25 feedbacks to the First Selectman office. They were very, very happy about the roundabout. That something has been taken care of eliminating the conflict points and accommodating pedestrians and bicyclists. So that was kept in the mind. And stop sign will be removed. Obviously, we don't need a stop sign. So for now, I think the observations went well, the demonstrations went well, emergency vehicles can maneuver. It's giving new, I think, one of the good roundabouts in the town we haven't seen. This was a good demo project. We don't do a lot of demo projects, and something that we are looking forward to doing more demonstration projects like these. This was our second demonstration project. First one was at Villa Avenue we did last year. And we are looking for more demonstrations like this where we will keeping roundabout for some more time, or any other countermeasures to test the observations and public, and to have the feedback live, like how they're feeling about this, and also to everybody to see that for traffic calming measures. So this is a roundabout, and hopefully it works. Once this is approved, we'll go to the construction. That will be completely in-house, which will be saving a lot of money to us. In-house designing saved us, and also the construction will be saving us money. So we will not be spending, around $1 million that was estimated for this roundabout itself. So that's a good cost-saving effort from engineering and DPW.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the commission?
Megan, is that the estimated cost, $1 million for the Sunday house?
Well, the roundabouts can go around, this little mini roundabout, I was around $250,000 it was coming, but now because of the labor, material, equipment, it can go up to $1 million, yeah.
And the town will do it?
Now, town will be doing, DPW department team will be doing in-house construction.
Great. Thank you.
So what does that bring our real cost down to, just materials and labor?
Just, yes, just in-house labor, and they have material that they may have to buy from gravel, or they have in-house material too, but not as expensive. No.
Anything else from the commission?
Thank you for all your time and all your work on this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the public on this item? Yes, sir.
Yes, hi, my name's Nat.
Please, yes, if you could please come up.
Yeah, I live on,
Give us your name and address.
yes, Nat Foot, 340 Banks North Road. My property also borders Reading Road. I also grew up on Catamount Road, so I've been driving this Reading Road and this intersection for more times than I can possibly count. So I guess I did drive around when they had the demonstration, and I have driven the road a million times. And I guess my main question is, what is the real problem that you're trying to solve? Because I read about safe streets and calming traffic and slowing things down. And first of all, I don't see this is accomplishing that at all. Obviously, it will slow people when they go around, but when they're coming down Reading Road before they get to Dwight School, will have nothing to do with it. And once they get through the intersection and they head down, and vice versa, it's, they're going to do whatever they do. It's not going to slow traffic through the town of Fairfield. As far as the intersection is concerned, I've driven this thousands of times, and I have never experienced a dangerous situation. It's sure, when you come up Reading, if you're heading north on Reading Road and you get to the stop sign, you have to look over your shoulder, and cars may be coming on Dunham, but my God, there are 1,000 intersections in this town where you have to, look. Look at Sturgis and Bronson, for instance. When you're coming up Bronson and you have to look down Sturgis, two cars are coming. That's far more dangerous, far more traffic. I've just never encountered a situation. And riding a bike, I've ridden a bike a million times there too, I've never had a problem. I mean, ever had a problem. And what I found at the intersection was it was incredibly confusing. I mean, first of all, there are no other, roundabouts in the town of Fairfield except for by McDonald's. People in this town, in this state, don't know what to do. When I was coming, up north on Reading, and you go around and the cars are coming in Dunham, there were several situations where people didn't know who had the right of way. It's entirely unclear. I can't tell you who has the right of way. So I'm not sure what problem we're trying to solve. I don't think it'll calm traffic, and I think it will create a much more dangerous situation for pedestrians, bikers, and cars at the intersection. Do we have any other examples of where we have a residential roundabout, or is this an experiment? Is this something we're trying out?
If I may, sir.
Yes.
This is public comment, and
Yep.
we certainly welcome the comments.
Yep.
It's not appropriate for you to ask questions of us. We can take what you said and respond
Okay.
to it, but it's not Q&A, it's comment. So I think we got the gist of your comments, if you want to kind of keep it.
Okay, but I guess the thing is, when I see approved, and it sounds like we're moving forward, and there are, I know a person who lives right around the corner, and she has communicated with either this commission or she's communicated with the town, and she is a walker. She's absolutely, completely against it. Her experience was it was much more dangerous during that time period. So my comment would be, I hope that since this really is sort of a first time we've seen something like this, that before we go ahead and do it, that we really analyze what problem we're trying to solve. Will this really solve the problem? Would be my two things. And I think my comment is that it will not calm traffic, and it will create a more dangerous situation for pedestrians, bikers, and cars at the intersection. So,
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Okay.
that very much.
thank you.
Megan, did you want to respond to any of that, or can you?
It is definitely eliminating the diverging, converging, and crossing conflict. I see on that intersection that's a major reason that we are proposing a roundabout. It will calm the traffic right now. It's like an open roadway with conflicting points there, with an estimated guess with a stop sign where people have to look over their shoulders and make an estimate, like a driver like me have to make an estimated guess if I can go along, if somebody's coming around my shoulder. Not everybody has a very, very good vision and estimated guesses. That's what is creating the problem there. It's not accommodating bicyclists. They can bike there. I have seen people, that doesn't mean that maybe they are good, confident bikers. There are some bikers like me who is not very confident on that roadway to bike and to walk. So for that kind of pedestrians and bicyclists, keeping in mind to eliminate those perceptions or that estimated guesses or overconfidence that they may be having just going, we are eliminating those and bringing this roundabout to create a more proper traffic pattern than it is right now. It is definitely improving from where we are to where we should be. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect 100%, but it's definitely it's solving the problem of eliminating the conflict points, accommodating bicyclists, and accommodating pedestrians who are not willing to walk. There are so many people who have come to us and saying, this is a dangerous intersection. While we were demonstrating, there were two pedestrians who came, you are solving a problem because we don't feel safe here walking. And they don't, because that intersection needs some kind of an improvement, definitely. That stop sign that is there needs some kind of an improvement, not roundabout or maybe keeping an island over there or curb extension. We have so much of space, so why not just try a new roundabout, which Fairfield doesn't have? There are so many other places that have roundabout. They work proper, they're functional, there are no functional issues. I have never heard any complaints regarding roundabout, that somebody is complaining that roundabout is not effective. It's always been effective, and that's all I can say. This is the first we should give a chance and a try to this new initiative.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Police Commission. My name is Sarah Roy. I've been before you before. I live at 3 Buena Vista Road. And I didn't plan to talk about this, but it is one of my favorite topics, so I can't help myself. I very much support the proposal for a roundabout, and I just wanted to support what Mega said and say that for those who may not be familiar, a traditional T intersection has 32 potential points of conflict, and when you do a roundabout, you reduce those potential points of conflict to 8. So they are, research has demonstrated that they are safer than a traditional T intersection, especially when you have them in a rural area. Like, they don't work so super well necessarily in downtowns, which are much more congested, but in a rural area, they are far more effective, and they do slow traffic coming in and out, as was mentioned. And it's my understanding that this would be a first step in a holistic look at Reading Road, and there's other things that would be happening that would help calm traffic in combination with this. And in terms of novelty of roundabouts, there is one off of exit 47 on the Merritt Parkway, and I would encourage anybody who's curious about roundabouts to look up Dan Burden. He is sort of the granddaddy of roundabouts. He started an amazing roundabout program in Florida, and he talks about how there is a learning curve the first few months of people experiencing a roundabout, but in his experience, and he's helped communities, hundreds of communities across the United States install roundabouts. The vast majority of complaints come prior to implementation of the roundabout, and then once people get used to it after a few weeks, they move on to something else to complain about. So it really is an effective solution, and I would say if you're looking for local examples, the town of Glastonbury, Connecticut has some awesome roundabouts that they worked with the state DOT to develop, design, and install. And two other places you can look are Carmel, Indiana, and Seattle have a variety of roundabouts that they have installed over the past 20 years. Seattle's neighborhood traffic circles have greatly reduced traffic violence in those neighborhoods, and Carmel, Indiana is known as the roundabout capital of the United States, and you can look at those for effective use of roundabouts.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So you're sure. Mr. Hurley, do you have comments?
Yeah, 100 of them.
I think Mega had answered most of the questions. She did a good job, but I just wanted to add a couple of my thoughts and let people know some of the observations. According to the first selectman, he estimated that he received over 90% of support emails for this project when the demonstration had occurred. There were, 3 or 4 people against it, but he estimated there were like 57 or 60 that were in support of it. It's a traffic calming project and a safety project. The roundabout is a proven safety countermeasure. It can reduce accidents from 19 to 82%, depending on what type of accident we're talking about. The most highest reduction would be in the serious and fatality crashes category, where, I just even put it up right here. If you go to the FHWA site, converting a two-way stop control, they didn't have a one-way stop control, but two-way stop control intersection to a roundabout is an 82% reduction in fatal and injury crashes, and that's after many years of study, and they have a whole booklet and report on these, because there's like 9 major ones, what they call safety countermeasures. I wanted to let you know that by the town DPW forces doing the roundabout, we are within our budget. The money has already been approved. We have a road safety account that will be withdrawing that and using the funding for this project. So we're set on that. And more importantly, this was part of a whole overall plan for Reading Road. There was an RSA. An RSA is a road safety audit. It was performed by the engineering department, the police department, and Yukon Tech T2 Center. So we had those input, and we even had a couple input from a couple of residents and interested parties, I'll call it, on for Reading Road. When we were at the site, there was concerns about safety and speeding, especially when you go Dunham into Reading. There is no stop sign there. And so there was a big concern of that. There was concern about some truck traffic. The roundabout will allow trucks and fire trucks to go over, but obviously at a slower speed. One of the things that's important where somebody had mentioned, and they're probably right, it was confusing, it's something new, but you have to remember, we had no signs. There's usually going to be yield signs, chevrons, pavement markings, reflectors or delineators. We didn't have any of that. This was just cones, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, this is a demo with
Yeah.
limited, but we did have signs. We had put like a cone on the slow down, so left turn and right turn, mimicking the real sign.
But you have the additional
Not
signs,
the
right?
real one.
Right. And then, as somebody else had mentioned before too, Sarah Roy, at Park Avenue at Merritt Parkway, there's a roundabout there. And there was a little bit, that was the first one in Fairfield. And it's on the line, actually, yep. Matter of fact, the commission here, back at that time, was the one that proposed a roundabout, because originally the developer for the hospital, Bridgeport Hospital in Trumbull, there was on the hill as you're going up Park Avenue, and a stoplight or a red light, would cause cars, to back up and then lose traction going up that hill and all that. So this commission was one that had approved that roundabout with the town of Trumbull as well. And so that's one that the first month there was a little bit of a learning curve. There was one car that did go up over the curve or whatever, but that's the intent for even trucks to do that. It's only a 2-inch drop curve, and it goes up for the shoulder so that larger vehicles, if they happen to pass through, they can do that safely with no issues and no problem. So there was a 1-month learning curve, but since then, I'm going to say it's been, I don't know, maybe 8 years, and I don't recall any problems or issues with that roundabout. Just want to let you know on that. And then this is only one part of the Reading Road overall plan. Through the police department, Hector, he made a proposition to the state to create a school zone, and Dwight School will have that, and so they're lowering the speed limit in that school zone. There's also plans for other intersection improvements, and we're looking into pathways and of that nature. We're not going to do sidewalks, it's not conducive to the area, but perhaps some pathways or something like that is still being looked at. And because of the larger nature, we're even having a consultant do an overlook as well. So I just wanted to highlight those things, that this is not just one, it's part of the whole plan. Thank you. Sure. Oh, sure.
Anything else from the commission on this? Just really quickly, I know we're running along there. You mentioned you're doing the work, we have the money, so we go from here to doing the work, we're not going to other town bodies?
That would be correct, yes.
Got it, thank you. Okay, back to the commission. Comments? Anyone want to make a motion on this? Or not? Gentlemen, ladies?
I'll make a motion to give that recommendation.
Mr. Klein? Mr. Lebo? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? It carries. Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you. Survey number 2, B.
Hadley Road back between Lloyd Place. Continuation from the July 10th, 2024 meeting, pending land analysis and survey. Proposal by the engineering DPW to support a Y intersection to a T intersection. The recommendation approach to be to install stop signs at all approaches. Alternative proposal would be to switch existing stop signs from Hadley to downhill approach on Lloyd, but would render Hadley as a straight-through movement. Having stop signs for 2 out of 3 approaches is not recommended. DPW paving streets in August also recommended stop bars, stop ahead signs, and temporary cones markings to highlight new layout. As of 6/14/2024, some residents are aware of the project, but no outreach has been performed yet. By whom? William Conley, town engineer.
Okay, I'll just rather make this fairly quick. This proposal was brought upon, we had met with the Stratfield School PTA and concerned residents of that area, and they had brought up this intersection and another intersection on Lloyd, and obviously Harvester and Putting Green were other ones. So when the opportunity came that DPW was going to pave the road, we thought this would be a great opportunity to convert the Y to a T intersection. We had done that in 3 other neighborhoods, all with positive success. In one of the neighborhoods, we had a 3-year accident history or crash history of 37 vehicles, and it went down to 0. So we've had great success doing this, and we thought this was a good idea. It would also reduce impervious surface for water quality, and it would create more green space in and around the intersection. We had rushed, I'll be honest with you, we rushed a plan or a sketch on here because of timing. I was out of town and I could not make this meeting. We had it submitted in to give it enough time, and because of the paving schedule, we were kind of rushed with it. As it turns out, I understand that this motion was tabled because of neighborhood opposition. Since then, when I was on vacation, the DPW, I guess word didn't quite get out to them that it was tabled, and they just paved, I believe they just paved it the way it was. So we kind of, quote, missed our opportunity.
It's not
It's
paved.
not paved.
It's not paved.
No,
They tore it up, yeah, they didn't.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, and I haven't had a chance to go out. So anyway, I thought that was a missed opportunity. But based on public comment, we have decided to put the project on hold. And we were going to, I thought it was paved, so I was like, well, we're not going to rip up pavement that we just put in. So I was under the impression that, that this project have stopped. If the neighborhood is totally opposed upon it, it's something that we would consider and we could drop from the project. We normally don't want a neighborhood to totally dictate everything that we're trying to do in terms of safety. But in this case, because it was a neighborhood-generated proposal, and not just one strictly from engineering, we could possibly consider that. If the neighborhood doesn't want it, and they're not willing to maintain those new grass areas, well, then we would have solved one problem, but then maybe created another one. So that's why, as I said, we could be willing to walk away based on
so
the
just
situation.
for clarity here.
Yep.
What is before us? Because the recommendation before us, let me quickly read it because it was on page 2. The recommendation that's before us is to convert the intersection to a T, install stop signs on all approaches for stop bars, stop ahead signs, and temporary cones and markings to highlight the new layout. DPW paving in August, we just talked about that, and engineering to notify residents. So is that stuff has not all been done? So are you asking us, what are you asking us to do here? Just
Well,
hold
again,
on to this until another month?
Yeah,
No, I'm asking you. I'm
okay,
asking you.
but based on I had received a phone call from a resident that said they paved the road already. So I was under the impression I had called DPW. They said they had paved the road or whatever. Now, whether they had left the section open, nobody had told me that, so I was under the impression that this project was already basically done. So now that it hasn't, we could look at it again if the neighborhood wants us to. If the neighborhood doesn't want us to, we could drop the proposal or at least table it.
No, thank you for that.
Yeah.
No,
And sorry for the confusion.
No,
As I said, I
that's
wasn't.
fine. No, that helps, because
Yeah.
back in July, we did have a very thorough discussion
Mhm.
on this item as it was before us at
Right.
that point. And we had engineering, we had the police speak, and we had a number of neighbors speak, and that's when we made the decision to hold on to this. You weren't there, right?
Right.
And we were gonna get more information on all that kind of stuff.
Right, and we would have to give a better survey plan and all that, but like I said before, we're that busy and figuring that it had already been done, I'm like, I'm not gonna waste our resources on it.
I mean, it kind of sounds to me like we're kind of in the same place we were 60 days ago, and, I think unless the commission disagrees, I might.
I'll make a
Hold on.
motion that we table this item until the town engineer
to bring it
To
forward in
bring
a
it
more
forward
complete
at
fashion
another
or
time,
something?
yeah. I mean, there's no need to even discuss this at this point, because there's nothing to discuss here. Nothing's changed since we tabled this last
That's my
time.
point, thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Right.
Do you want to second his motion before, or do you not?
I just had one other, question. If you decide to table it, what we, engineering would do is we would meet with the neighbor, as I said, just time schedule, summer vacations, the whole deal.
Right.
That we would then discuss with the neighborhood and then come back with either a plan or we would drop the proposal.
Is there a second to Mr. Millington's motion to postpone this item?
I second.
Mr. Adams? Okay, so there's a motion on the table to postpone. Can you folks just hold, because if we decide to postpone it to a later date, and I know you're here, we've already discussed this at great length two meetings ago, and there's really nothing new to discuss that I think is going to affect that vote, okay? Because I think that the feeling up here is that we don't know enough to have a discussion and therefore to make a decision.
Just a couple pieces of information, I just want.
I'm going to say no to that if this motion passes. Because if this motion passes, then we are going to move on, and I'm sorry that you're here and won't get a chance to speak. If we don't do that, then yes, sir. Okay?
If I may, I'm willing to meet with you after the meeting to discuss.
Absolutely, we're not here to
So you didn't waste
disperse you,
your time.
we're just here to kind of keep the meeting
Thank
in
you.
order.
Yes.
Yeah, no, right?
Yep.
Go
Mhm.
ahead, yes, ma'am.
Just a clarification, on the milling of the road, they did come to the top of, Athley Road, just doing the milling. Yeah.
They came down
Kind of near
Lloyd's
your
Place,
property, right?
Lloyd's Place, right
Right
to,
there, yeah. 'cause I
right
went up
before
there
the
and looked at it.
intersection
Yeah,
that we're talking
That's why
about.
people are confused.
That's been untouched.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for that,
You bet.
that's good information. Anything else on the motion to postpone this to a future meeting when we feel more comfortable and
Mhm.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, so we will do that. And I'm very sorry, just following Robert's Rules of Order to make sure that if we're going to postpone it, we don't talk about it for an hour and then do it an hour later. So thank you for being here, and my apologies for the change of venue, or the change of operations.
As I said, sorry, I haven't even had a chance to
No,
go out to the site, and I was given wrong information.
No, I
Incorrect.
just don't like to see people come and not have a
All
chance.
right, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item 4, which is the monthly reports for July and August. I guess, why don't we just go to Q&A from board members to the chief, or the chief staff on items from either report. Kind of an open forum, guys, just ask away.
Good job with the traffic stops.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Good night.
Rita Sirius Grass, we assisted with in Westport, and we're also on one, as we sit here at this moment, they had a cyclist struck by a garbage truck that was in the fatality. Yeah, it's right now, yeah.
In Fairfield?
In Westport. Yeah. So our crash recon team is assisting them as we.
No crashes in Fairfield. No serious crashes in Fairfield.
Not that I'm aware of.
Can you say it again?
Sure, it's actually on a notepad on my desk.
Each side, is it?
No, it's,
Chief, I believe it was Patrick Road.
yes, you're right, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, good job.
And-
On the ball. There you go.
You're right.
Questions from Mr. Pine? Anything? Mr.
Did
Emmer?
we not also assist Westport in a traffic reconstruction where two pedestrians were, the Fairfield resident, in fact, was struck by a car, he was walking on the sidewalk. I think we also helped them out in that reconstruction project.
That's correct.
And that individual that was struck, I guess there were two people.
There were two people, those were not fatalities, but very, very seriously injured.
You know, it's a recurring thing that our reconstruction team is called upon to assist other towns. I mean, that's really a commendation to our department.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else? Anything that you'd like to share with us or point us to in either report?
Sure, Eddie's just gonna talk
I didn't mean to
No, we have,
jump ahead of you.
you know, we had, Fairfield University move in, which sometimes causes some community relations on occasion. I think this year went pretty smooth, and Eddie will just touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so as you know, the students came back this weekend, which is always the compounding effect of move-in day and their traditional Labor Day white party. So there was a lot of planning and preparation that went into it this year, and we've got so much positive feedback about the police presence down there, the amount of attention that we gave the area, as well as the demeanor of the officers. Our event commander was Lieutenant Jeremy Zadru. He's done a bunch of Fairfield events. He does a phenomenal job. I'm just going to read you a couple of highlights from the interaction report. There was 1 medical call, 1 infraction for open container, and 3 infractions issued for noise complaints. So that's really good sign that things were kept under control down there. So he says there were a few changes this year that were implemented after the review of past Fairfield University beach events. Parks and Recreation installed orange construction fencing around Lantern Point and Lund Court to limit any trash from entering the water. It was also meant as a barrier to prevent students from entering Lantern Point from the beach side. The effectiveness of the fencing could not be measured as there were no students gathered on the Lantern Point patio or beach. G4 Security had a strict no-guest policy for Lantern Point, which prevented non-resident students from entering the point, but it also forced those that lived in Lantern Point onto the Fairfield Beach Road to meet up with friends. There was limited activity in the beach area until 7:30 p.m. when students began to arrive in Ubers. The greatest influx of students started to arrive around 9 o'clock after public safety shut down all campus parties. This most likely directly led to a large amount of students flooding the beach area. At any one point, there were approximately 300 to 500 students in the Fairfield Beach Road area, which is typical of these types of events. It sounds like a lot, but that's pretty much what we expected. We were very happy to hear all of the positive feedback about how the officers handled it. We had a lot of pre-meetings in different departments, different compartments, and the police department's stance was we have to set a tone of very low tolerance at the very beginning, at the outset, and hope that that carries over throughout the year. So Captain Koval distributed his first beach area report of the season, and there were 8 calls for service, and we issued infractions or misdemeanor summonses for every one of those calls for service. So we're definitely setting a strict tone at the very beginning, and we're hoping for a fairly quiet year. Thank you. Good work.
Very good work. I was down there for that. It's like clockwork. It was like a military operation. It was great. Guys did a good job. Thanks.
Great. Yeah. Fantastic. Anything else you want to share from the reports? Are you good? Good. You good? Yes. All right. All right, we can move on, find my agenda, to item number 5. We have a couple updates from the chief or the chief staff on new business on the Fairfield Traffic Authority and noise variance applications.
Yeah, so I've been in collaboration with the town attorney relative to their position on creating a Fairfield Traffic Authority, which will take the roles and responsibilities related to your traffic authority and put them on several members of the town. So pursuant to Section 7 of the Public Act 2440 gives the town the authority to determine through the RTM if they want to establish a local traffic authority other than the police commission, which there appears to be an interest in. Just to give you some high-level information on it, they are looking to assign a complete streets coordinator to the town, who shall serve as the chairperson. Other members will consist of the police chief, member or members of the Board of Police Commissioners, town employees who have town planning experience or similar experience, town zoning department employee, community and economic development department employee, Parks and Rec department employee, health department employee, and several members of the public. And I think the biggest takeaway from that is that employees of the town have a fiscal responsibility where they can evaluate projects that they are approving based on their budgetary constraints. In addition to that, qualifications. members of the LTA must possess relevant professional experience, academic qualifications in traffic engineering, urban planning, public administration, law enforcement, or significant other relevant experience. And they'll be seeking candidates from our town body or from our town government who are employees to fulfill those roles. Powers and duties. The FTA shall have all powers and duties previously held by the Board of Police Commissioners regarding traffic management, just regarding traffic management, as described in Section 14-297 of the Connecticut General Statutes. And then there are several roles of the Complete Streets Coordinator, which, just to give you a quick snapshot of that, it would basically be the role of Captain Irizarry and his team. That would really be the role of now the Complete Streets Coordinator, who would take on these projects with a complete streets approach and a Vision Zero approach to implement a holistic approach to traffic safety in neighborhoods where we're trying to make incremental changes. And just a note on that as far as transition responsibilities, at which point the RTM votes on this. If approved, there will be a 60-day transition period from the Fairfield Police Commission as the local traffic authority to the Fairfield Traffic Authority. Are there any questions on that?
Just a couple quick things from me. Did you get the answer from the RTM? Did they meet in August and did they take this up?
They did not.
They did not. So the RTM, I'm assuming, is taking this up at some point in the near future. I'm going to assume September for the moment. I don't know if it's on the agenda yet or not. But if the RTM does take it up and it passes within that one meeting without being held over for discussion, whenever it gets approved, then it has to hold over for another month like any other ordinance does. So it could be 2 months out, it could be 3 or 4 months out. It's going to be 2 plus any additional month they have to discuss it. So that's kind of the time frame. The earliest it would take place would be 2 months, and it could be much longer. It comes before the RTM passed. Yeah, of course. Right.
Just before this meeting, I asked if it was on the agenda, and I did not receive a response.
You did not? Okay. So there's that. And the other thing I wanted to just ask of this board is that I don't know the outcome of this or what anyone's opinions are on this local traffic authority. But putting that aside for just a moment, if this does happen, it is going to remove from this commission a significant responsibility that we've had for a very, very long time, and time we take in meetings to approve things. So I think it would be a good time for all of us to put our thinking caps on and look forward and say, well, if we're not going to be doing these road traffic approvals, where else can this commission, inject itself into the police department, or without being disruptive, of course. Where else can we add value, and what other duties and responsibilities can we think are important to this board that maybe we haven't had the time to get to in the past, or we have not done in the past? So, otherwise we're going to have some pretty short meetings, right? So we want to make sure that we're not just relevant, but that we're important to the town and to the police department. So if you guys could start thinking about, what might be additive to what we do, that would be of value.
It's a good point.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else on this local traffic authority, the LTA? And I encourage anyone to read, to study, to listen, and just find out what you can. Noise variance applications, sir.
Sure. I have, I'm going to read through them real quick. I'll make them as brief as possible. Michael Dwyer of 105 Half Mile Lane in Southport has requested a noise variance for 9/14/2024 from 5:30 to 8:30. Live music at an outdoor charity event. That variance was approved by me. Sacred Heart University for the following dates: 9/7/2024 for a football game, 9/14/2024 for a football game, 10/5/2024 for a football game, and 10/26/2024 for a football game. And the last one,
You have authority over their football schedule. Great.
And I'll just add a little note to that, that I have had discussions with, the Director of Public Safety over there, Gary McNamara, and, Dr. Patillo regarding, complaints that have come in the past, and we've worked to try to redirect the speakers at the stadium to try to alleviate some of that noise. The last one is for September 27th, submitted by Allison Berger for Fairfield University, and that is on Fairfield University campus from 8 to 11 for the annual President's Ball, and that was approved as well.
Thank you. Cut you off. Okay. All right, so now, we're all good with that, and anything else? Okay, we can go to item number 6, which is to move to executive session. If I could entertain a motion for that to discuss organizational proposal.
So moved.
And personnel matters. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Are we,
Mike. Okay, please note, as of 6:10 PM, the Board of Police Commissioners is out in private executive session. During private executive session, no motions were made, no votes were taken. Okay? Mr. Ambrose?
Yes, I'd like to move to accept the proposed organizational schedule that's been set forth, and would seek the approval of the board to accept said motion.
Second, Ms. Legal? Is there discussion on the motion by Mr. Ambrose? Sure, you got you. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yep. Okay. If there is no discussion on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, that motion carries. Mr.
I'd further
Ambrose?
like to move to accept to approve the current sergeant vacancy on the midnight shift.
Mr. Pine, second. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. All right, so we have conducted the business for the original executive session that was on our agenda for today. At this time, I would like to recommend that we go into an additional executive session for the sole purpose of interviewing candidates for the position of captain. Kevin, any further reasons?
have to come out of the previous one?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Second to Gwen?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Okay. The board stands in private executive session for the purpose of interviewing candidates for the position of captain.
To move things along, Blair. All right. It's on.
All right. At 7:54 PM, the Board of Police Commissioners came out of executive session. During the executive session, no motions were made, no votes were taken. At this time, based on our executive session, I move for the Police Board of Commissioners to promulgate a list for 12 months, which will expire on September 11th of 2025, for the position of captain of the Fairfield Police Department, and the list in order. The first person on the list is Lieutenant Michael Paris. The second person on the list is Lieutenant Matt Randall. And number 3 on the list is Lieutenant Jason Spahn. That's the motion.
I'll second it.
Second. Discussion on the motion to promulgate the list for 3 to 12 months for 3 folks. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Any other business to come before the board before we adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Millington?
Good night.
Ms. Lebo, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Thank you, good night.